You guys and girls, after all the waiting, all the hopes and dreams, all the worries, I know you were worried, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we got the Animal Crossing New Horizons Direct, October 2021, and they're about to detail the biggest update ever. All right, did you see the tweet from one of the heads of Nintendo PR, Chad? He was like, hey, I know we've had a lot of good presentations lately, but you don't want to miss tomorrow's Animal Crossing presentation. Good news. Hashtag trust SwitchForce. But I wanted to say hi, and I thought I'd come at you with some final predictions. All right, I've got some new info. I've been reading through things, and I want to give you my updated final predictions before tomorrow morning. And make sure to let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you're ready and excited for this direct. I'll be streaming it live an hour early. Get ready. Got my party gear, got my bird snacks, and then we're gonna watch the direct together and just rejoice in all the goodness. So my predictions are not gonna include Brewster because that's obvious. Gyroids, Brewster the Roost, almost positive that's going to happen. Let's actually start with an interesting prediction here, which is something I don't think is gonna happen. I don't think there will be Zelda items, and I don't think there will be Splatoon 3 items. Now, the reason I believe this and why I've changed course is there aren't release dates for Breath of the Wild 2 or for Splatoon 3. And I think that Nintendo would time those things more closely to the launches of those games. Also, because there has previously been Zelda gear and villagers and Splatoon items and villagers, I think that all they need to do is convert them to higher res files and then release them. That's a quicker process, and I think they can probably get it ready right before launch and to coincide with those games. Mario's items coincided with his 35th anniversary and that celebration. Zelda's 35th anniversary is this year, but the game itself, the thing they're really trying to sell you, ain't out till probably late next year. So I think they're gonna hold off on the other games, and I don't think we'll get any of the past game content, like the crossover content, in this direct. Now let's talk about some new info, stuff I've never mentioned on this channel. All right, I was digging through old data mines, and I saw that there are 2 NPCs that have been discovered in the Animal Crossing New Horizons update code that are not yet in the game. One of them was last summer, and one of them was this spring. Who are those characters? The first is Wendell the Walrus. Now, Wendell was associated around the time when Luna and Dream Suites appeared, and because Wendell was in sort of dream codes in the past, we thought they would be tied together. Wendell and Luna would, hook up and release in the same update. That did not happen, but Wendell was in the code. So I'm wondering what Wendell will be used for. I have some ideas, but I think Wendell will appear here. I think he's actually going to be one of the NPCs. I no longer think it's going to be Cap'n or Tortimer. I think they're going to be saved for a 2022 update that ties more directly to the season in which it's released. We're in the fall. We got Brewster, we got the Roost. You'll see more of what we've got. So I'm thinking Wendell comes, and maybe it has something to do with patterns, maybe it has something to do with building changes. Now, the reason I mention that is because Lottie has also been spotted in the Datamine. Lottie's melody was in one of the earlier updates this year, back around April, and that makes no sense, because Lottie is not in the game. Now, Lottie may have a strange haircut, but she helps a lot with homes, and I wonder if she would be involved in either some sort of upgrade or redecoration of your home. We've seen data mines regarding ceiling furniture and things of that sort, so maybe new placeables. Or I've seen people start to speculate that she could be involved with changing building exteriors. It's something that does not really play into the creativity themes of Animal Crossing New Horizons. All of our islands have the same resident services, the same museum, the same Nook's Cranny, and the same Able Sisters. And I'm wondering if it's time for those things to at least change a bit. And Wendell and Lottie perhaps could be a big component of that. I'll also throw out there that I wonder if resident services ever sees an update. Maybe there'll be a new desk that involves some more different kinds of upgrades and changes. The museum has expanded without changing the exterior, and resident services maybe could get a new room as well. Nook and Isabella are probably lonely after spending a year together on a deserted island. So Wendell and Lottie are my new picks for returning NPCs, and I think that their functionality is going to involve something to do with, like, not Happy Home Designer totally, but in that same vein, and some changes that would involve the buildings or the houses. Number 3, I think we're getting new villagers. You know that Series 5 Amiibo cards are coming, and if you think about it, Nintendo, they announced this before the event. So the announcement of the cards isn't the cool part, it must be the cards themselves, or at least that's how I take it. All right, so I'm thinking we're going to get a substantial amount of new villagers, and I believe that they're gonna show off those new villagers and probably their homes and maybe how you acquired them. I think they'll probably be exclusive to the cards, but there's also a chance that they could factor into Mystery Islands as well. I just think maybe Nintendo really wants to sell this set, and the way you'll get these characters is by bringing them into the campsite, and maybe it's too complicated to throw them into the Mystery Island fray, although best case scenario is that they're just available in-game as well, and you don't need the amiibo cards, but based on how you need the Sanrigo amiibo cards, I feel like that's what they're going to do with these characters as well, and that incentivizes and makes these cards more special, and I think they'll spend a decent amount of time talking about the cards and then showing off the new villagers and maybe even showing off some of their homes. That'll be a very welcome addition to the game, and it's one I'm really excited to see how they handle. Number 4 comes from Datamines of the past as well. Remember back in the day, last year when we talked about crops and cooking? Well, I think cooking really did end up becoming just a Turkey Day type event and affair, but I think crops are still very much in their infancy. And it is the fall season after all. This is right around when we got pumpkins last year, and people were just smitten like little Halloween black hat wearing kittens when those came. We've seen Datamine other crops such as wheat, carrots, tomatoes, I think potatoes as well, and sugarcane. I think a bunch of those are going to come, if not all of them. And I think that will factor into a nice fall feeling. Go get your cup of coffee, maybe a little latte, and then you can go out and harvest your crops, right? Living the life. You got the hay in your mouth, the horses are neighing, and you also have some Starbucks, which is very, very unique. But I appreciate it, and I think Brewster will be happy to see you farming out there and making good use of Leaf, who hasn't got a lot of usage this year, and now he'll be back with a little bit more. Plus, the data mines are just all coming true. It all lines up. And these things, especially when there's multiple items, multiple mentions, like if it was just pumpkins and maybe we saw potato, then okay, maybe they're just testing something out. But the fact that they put like 5 or 6 other crops in there tells me veggies are coming back in a big way. You ever seen VeggieTales? Well, now VeggieTales is going to come into Animal Crossing. 5th on the agenda, or maybe first for you if you are a lover of the purple felines, is Katrina and her fortunate luck. We saw the luck mechanism introduced in the game with the King Tut mask falling over, right? Not fun to fall, actually really fun to fall. It's a cute animation. And I think Katrina will come back because we've seen fortune data mined within the code. And who else is fortunate except Katrina herself? Fortunate to be on the island after all this time. I think we're going to get more good luck, bad luck, new items, and Katrina's fortunes. I don't know if they'll be fortune cookies or they'll be just fortunes or maybe fortune items, a fortune furniture set. I think that will integrate quite a bit with Katrina, and she will be bringing a new little tent or new little stand to the plaza. I don't think she gets her separate building. I don't think she's a separate island. I think she'll be a new plaza NPC. Like I mentioned, I think Wendell and Lottie will either be ones that you kind of call up, or they'll be ones that appear in resident services to kind of balance things out and not overload the plaza or overload the museum or overload a specific section. But I do think that Katrina, Wendell, Lottie, and Brewster will be the quartet of NPCs that really come at us fast in this direct. And I think they'll save guys like Campin and Tortimer and Rossetti for later. And then there's some characters that just don't fit in and make a lot of sense. I would personally love it if Gracie Grace came to the game because I think a giraffe is fantastic and just a magical addition to Animal Crossing. I'm sad she's not here, but her purpose, it doesn't really fit unless there is like a city island. I mean, fingers crossed that they do something that crazy, but I don't think right now is the time or the structure of the game really supports that or kind of goes in that direction. I'm still not sold on the city island. I'm love to be wrong on this one, but I don't really feel that that's the case at this point. I think they're just going to double down on making your island more interesting, and then maybe multiplayer comes a bit later. And then I'll throw you one more bonus prediction, which is a new version of Gulliver, right? We have Gulliver washing ashore, Gullivar washing ashore, and now maybe we get a new Gulliver. And if I had to bet, I'd say space themed. Since Gulliver was previously on board a spaceship UFO in past Animal Crossing games, and that's a nice item set that he could bring. We already have some space items, so there is precedent for this series kind of being a part of the game, and then they could expand and introduce more furniture and really bring Gulliver back into the fray with a new costume, same mechanic. It's a simple addition, but one that will go a long way to really helping flesh out this update, which I think is going to be 2.0, and I think it's going to be big, and I cannot wait. The direct is so close. We're here. It's going to be an awesome time. I cannot wait to share it with you. If you can't catch it live, of course, I'll have a recap. Of course, I'll go through all the secrets and all the new stuff, and then there'll be an actual update and more data mines, and this is just going to be a really exciting time. So thanks so much for sticking with me. Thanks so much for sticking it out. You could have gave up, you could have traded the game in, you could have sold it, but you're still here, you're still watching, you still hoped, and now we get to enjoy together. So let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Feel free to steal mine if you believe in them, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. We've been pretty spot on so far, so I'm hoping that at least like 3 of mine come true. That would be batting an incredible average. Until then, though, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Click that link if you want to be ready for the live stream. We're starting an hour before the show, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. Hope to see you there, and let's have a phenomenal Animal Crossing New Horizons Direct. Until next time, everybody, love you lots. SwitchForce out.